Welcome back to the programme. Professor Ife, before we went on a break, we were talking about the issue of targets. The President actually identified targets in relation to each of these sectors. What's the issue here concerning targets?
Well, you've got to have targets to drive all the operators and focus people's energy and resources. If you don't have targets and then break down those targets to departments and sectors and tiers of government, they will not have a rallying, nothing to make them, and then you can't have basis for allocating resources. So those targets have to drive how resources are being allocated. First, even foreign exchange. If you say, well, 50–60% of our foreign exchange must go to strategic sectors, those that are focusing on import substitution and also export, then you know that resources will go there, and then you know what proportions based on target that will be allocated. So that's very important. Otherwise, we'll just be talking about this since it becomes political talk.
Well, now in a few months, we'll be looking at the President and administration completing its first year. Based on the steps that the President has taken, how would you describe the economic direction of this government?
There are no doubt many gains, I can tell you. Some of them are not very visible, but they are there. People have criticized the President for spending a lot of time traveling around the world, but he is pursuing foreign investment to, in fact, even give confidence to the private sector that they can do business with him. Very, very important, because he has been maligned, as you know, during the electioneering process. Two, he needed to get on top of corruption and repatriation of stolen assets. You can't do that until you see the heads of states who will give directives to the FBI, to the Scotland, that will actually go and carry out the investigation and help you. You've got to get to the presidents of those countries. Then thirdly, we are surrounded by Francophone countries, and we were facing the war against terrorism. You've got to go around and talk to those heads of state, and you have to go to France and talk to because they are all French colonies. So on those three counts, he's got to be on and about, even the oil, to even get OPEC heads of states to begin to think about slowing down. He's got to get out to talk to Saudi friends. It's not ministerial. He's got to go to the highest level to persuade them. So that highest level of political will is being expressed by going round. So he has been achieving some things there. Then there's no doubt that within the country, he has waged a serious war against corruption. So that leads, some companies in America won't even come here because they are worried about the American Foreign Thought Act that says if you misbehave in a foreign country, don't worry, just come to America and sue them. And then you get hundreds of millions of dollars, not thousands of dollars. So, but now they are comfortable. I led a delegation of the American Chamber of Commerce to go and see the Minister for Finance. And I can see the energy. They want to come in. There are many others like that who want to come in because they are now feeling that there is a real war against that corruption. So it rubs off on foreign direct investment. But on the strategic economic management, there are challenges, the real challenges. But what I consider is a difficulty is that people don't seem to realize the international dimension of the challenges that we have, because they all originate from America. 2008 originated from America, the crisis, because of the toxic assets. And then when it came to Nigeria, it clashed with, overpriced stock market. So both of them collided, and then we had problem. Now, in this time round, Obama started the oil, shale oil, and then Saudi reacted, and then the consequence was the war and the glut in oil. But then they met an economy that is over-dependent on oil. So in addition, the Federal Reserve Bank in America has stopped quantitative easing. So all those cheap monies that were available and they invested them in our treasury bills and all that were beginning to go away before the oil even started. So those two came together. And then it became full-blown crisis.
But this issue that you've touched on in relation to the reliance on oil, many are now beating the drum of diversification, obviously because of the instability in the
from
price
the day I was born, or from the day I've been hearing about diversification.
But how effective can diversification be here? Can Nigeria really do diversification when you've got a dilapidated infrastructure and changes in economic policy?
We can, of course we can. Now, let's take it. Malaysia earns $20 billion just from palm oil alone. Just one item, challenging our revenue. Brazil earns about the same $20 billion or more just on sugar cane. I know Dangote is doing well, 50,000 hectares, and many more people are going in there. But you don't have to have diversification in all items for you to do one or two. And so that was why I was very interested in what they had to say at the NEC meeting. States should pick where they have competitive advantage. I know for sure that Ebonyi State wants to go on tomatoes, apart from rice. They want to focus on tomatoes. There are others that can focus on one or two items and then make a huge difference in those items.
One or two items, you're saying. What areas, really, are we talking about here?
First, it has to be, agriculture has to be number one, because although it's come down to 20% of GDP, but it still employs 70% of our people. So employment is so critical. So we're going to have to get people into employment. But we have to go to the area where young people can be attracted into, and that is agribusiness. Now, so, agribusiness is where you got to get young people in fish farming, in poultry, in some of the exotic birds, and processing and all that. That's an area where young people can engage with. Because if I don't want to spend your time now giving you the statistics of what will happen or what could happen in 2030, but it's called demographic time bomb. It doesn't look good. But then solid minerals, as I said, the market is here. China actually transformed and brought crude to Africa because they consciously decided to pay real price for, decent price for minerals from Africa. That was why growth was spread across all African countries. Now, so we have market. In fact, if China consumes the same per capita of metal that America consumes, then we will need 6 planets the size of this Earth to provide enough minerals for China's consumption. Now, South Africa, our partner, their mainstay of the economy is in metal, is in metallurgy. So I don't know why we couldn't. And we have a huge array of minerals that can be mined in commercial quantities. From gold, we're on the same gold belt with Ghana, iron everywhere, coal everywhere, limestone, most states. And that supports the cement factory, which is now producing for export. So you don't have to look far. They are all over the place, but we need to deploy resources to those. And it is not so much resource. It's only access road for many of them. Some of them just need power to be able to crush those ores. So it's not rocket science.
Thank you so much for your
pleasure.
insight. It's been invaluable. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on Dateline Abuja.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your mails as always. Keep them coming using the address and Twitter handle on your screen. You can also let us know anything happening within your area, especially if you're in the nation's capital. Don't forget, you can view the program on youtube.com/channelsweb/videos. You can make your comments after viewing the videos. Always remember to include your name and where you're writing from. I'm Yemisi Ipaye. See you again.